Alright, well, I hadn't really had much of an idea on how to format this video, but I think I've got kind of an idea, so let's just roll with it. I am getting so tired of online games, alright? Now, if you've never seen my content before, I have made a lot of content about toxic players, specifically in Valorant. And they're mostly about, like, calling them out on their behavior, talking back to them, basically standing up for myself, trying to break that stigma around standing up to bullies in video games. Now, obviously, this is a little bit rage-baity content, so I get a lot of responses being like, oh, you shouldn't do this, or thank you so much for making this, and, like, showing us it's okay to stand up for ourselves, all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, the only reason I post those videos is because I get a lot of people in my real life, in my personal life, talking about how they don't understand it when women and minorities talk about getting harassed in video games. I will hear people oftentimes be like, oh, that doesn't really happen, or people are exaggerating it. That's why I make the videos, to kind of show people, no, we're not exaggerating. Yes, this stuff does happen, and yes, it's crazy stuff that happens. But to be honest, at the end of the day, the only reason I'm comfortable making that kind of content is because I know that the people in those videos, they get punished, alright? A lot of people will comment on my videos and be like, you're just as bad, like, you're no better than them, you're being so rude and so hateful. At the end of the day, I'm not the one that gets banned from these video games, they are. Which really goes to show that video game companies are usually on my side. You know, companies being Riot, because all of these videos so far have been Valorant. Now, long story short, I stopped playing Valorant as much. I started playing more Overwatch, and it has not been the same experience at all. When I started playing more Overwatch, I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do for, like, YouTube content? I wonder if, there's toxic people in every video game. I will just make the same content, but with Overwatch, right? Well, problem number one, hardly anyone in Overwatch uses VC. All of the crap that they talk is typically in text chat, which is like so much more boring to make a video out of than voice chat. It doesn't have the oomph, you know? It doesn't have the theatrics. But, I don't really care. I can work with whatever. What really stopped me from making toxicity in Overwatch content is Blizzard. Now, if you don't know, if you never play Overwatch, Blizzard is the company that owns and runs Overwatch. Now, usually I can turn a blind eye to a lot of toxicity that happens, because with Riot, and in my head I'm like, okay, they literally said the N-word, they told me to off myself, they're gonna get banned, like this game, the next game, tomorrow at the latest, right? That was my thought process. Now, foolish me, assuming every game company was as strict with toxicity as Riot is. Because, lo and behold, I've been playing Overwatch for almost a year now, and in that year time frame, I have run into not only these toxic people that I'm showing you on the screen, which, to be fair, are on the worst end of things, but I have run into so many other people who say all of these slurs, all of these insults, etc., etc. And would you believe me if I told you I have gotten one report feedback in the past year? Not only that, but I myself have been banned for standing up to these people. Now, unfortunately, this has become a more common phenomenon as Riot has done this themselves. If you didn't hear of that, I won't go into too many details, but a famous streamer, she got banned for standing up to sexism. She got banned for a year, was able to contact a Riot employee and get that down to a 7-day ban, but still a ban. And if you're thinking like, oh, she must have said something bad, like she must have crossed the line when she was standing up for herself, No, she didn't. You can definitely find this information online for yourself, but that's not really the point of the video. The point is, moderation in these games sucks, and it has shown itself so much over the past year, especially with me playing so much Overwatch. It is painfully obvious. And not only is it obvious, but the people who work at Blizzard, whoever the customer support is, I don't really know how that works in Blizzard, but they do not give a single flying crap about their job. When I got banned, it was an entire ordeal. So, first things first, I didn't get told what I did to get banned. I didn't know that, but when you get banned, you don't get told why, okay? And in my head, I'm like, I have no idea why this would happen. So, blissfully ignorant me thought, oh, this must be a simple thing. I should be able to contact support, and this will get resolved right away. Either I'll get unbanned, or I will get a very valid reason for why I was banned, and I can avoid that behavior in the future. Easy peasy. Well, first of all, no, not at all. This is not how that went down whatsoever. We can start off with the fact that I got a 14-day ban. Now, if you're unfamiliar with video games or just Overwatch, a 14-day ban for a first-time offense is not normal at all. I had no idea, so obviously I went to the wide internet and looked it up. No, a 14-day ban is not at all normal for your first-time events unless it is something very extreme. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, something extreme, that's like slurs or, telling someone to do the no live. I have not done that. So after reading that immediately, I'm like, okay, this must be a mistake because I haven't done anything of the sorts. So I go and I contact Blizzard support thinking like, oh, I'll get an answer in like a day or two and they'll clear everything up, right? Wrong, okay? Just absolutely, I cannot tell you how wrong I was in thinking that this was going to be a simple process. Now, this was months ago at the time of recording this, so I don't remember all of the details, but long story short, it took 7 days and about 8 back and forth messages to Blizzard support to even get a straightforward answer from them about why I was chat banned. What's even funnier than that is before they gave me a straightforward answer on why I was chat banned, they actually tried to tell me that it was against their privacy policy to reveal details about an account under investigation. Now, in my head, I'm immediately calling BS because my account wasn't under investigation, it was penalized. And also, how is it against privacy policy to reveal details about someone's own account? Now, obviously, this was BS because I contacted them one more time and finally got a straight answer. Now, in the end, I think my ban was a little justified. Like, I was willing to take it. I wasn't willing to take it for that many days. It was ridiculous that it was a 14-day ban because all I did, I called somebody a swear word, alright? And they were that mad about it. Now, not only am I just like, kind of on board with this ban, it was really long for something really minor, but what ticked me off even more was that in recent time of me getting that ban, I have had people tell me to take my own life. I had been called slurs. I have had people throwing games, and I never received a single report feedback. Now, this is particularly weird because, I've explored the internet very vastly, and people are getting report feedbacks in Overwatch. So I don't know why I'm not. And I definitely understand not getting report feedbacks about every single person I report, because let's be honest, we all rage report people sometimes, and if they're not doing anything wrong, nothing happens. Not to mention the odd one out of thinking somebody's cheating, so you report them just in case, and if they're not cheating, nothing happens, obviously. But still, the fact that I got a 14-day ban for calling somebody a mean word, and I still hadn't gotten anything back from Blizzard about the people who say the N-word, the F-slur, literally a million other slurs that I had to look up because I didn't know they were slurs, but I was like, that word seems like it's being used very meanly. Now, obviously, all of this combined made me a lot more upset about my ban than I would have been if, It wasn't as long, it was for a better reason if they had gotten back to me on people who actually deserve to be banned. But even all of this is not the entire point of the video. I really just want to talk about why I make toxic videos, because even now, some people still really don't understand why. Because first of all, these videos are not for everybody. I say that every single time, but these videos are not for everybody. These kind of videos, it can really just drag somebody down. It can make you very mentally tired. It can be just what you don't want to see in a day, and that's totally understandable. And frankly, I never have and never will intend my video for all kinds of people. It's not gonna happen. There's always gonna be people out there who don't like my content, and apparently those people don't understand why my content isn't for them. But that being said, it makes it all the more funny to me when people comment on my videos being upset for no other reason than they don't personally like my content, because I'm like, well, yeah, dude, like, what? I personally don't like food ASMR content, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go on a specifically food ASMR YouTube channel and be like, God, your content sucks, why you make this, huh? Just like at the end of the day, if you don't like it, it's not for you, you know? But it's really funny because I find a lot of the people who hate my content, not everybody, but a good chunk of the people who like actively hate on my content, hate on it because they are the exact kind of people who expect to be able to verbally harass people in online video games and then face no consequences. And then they come and they see my content where they verbally harass other people online and I stand up for them, and they're like, oh, what, you're cute with this person, obviously. Like, there's no other explanation for you standing up for a stranger and fighting back against toxicity other than you're friends with them. I'm like, no, I just kinda make a hobby out of your toxicity. But then, of course, there are the people that come along whom I actually make my content for. Because on almost every single one of my toxic videos, I have gotten people commenting, saying, thank you for making this content. This is the kind of stuff I have to deal with every single time I play video games. And, yeah, same. All of this content, as much as it is for my personal entertainment, it's also just kind of a way to give a voice to the little guy, because like I mentioned earlier, people are actively getting banned for standing up for themselves in video games, and that just shouldn't be the norm, you know? The video game industry is unfortunately in this little corner that they've put themselves into, where it's like more people are starting to come to the games, but less people are starting to tolerate the environment that they nurtured, in a sense. So now these companies are faced with this dilemma of like, oh no, do we just not let our companies expand anymore and like not let our platforms expand anymore? Or do we try and actually discipline the long-standing users and stuff? Like all of these people who've been playing every single online multiplayer game for however long it's been out, and they're so used to basically getting on these video games and saying whatever they want to say because they can't say it in their home life or their work life or their school life. Like, they wouldn't get away with it there, so they come to video games to get away with it, right? And now other people are getting on video games from COVID and all of that. We're getting into video games more, and now we're like, hang on, why do you let people talk like this? And for the most part, yeah, video game companies are starting to discipline people, but they're also starting to take on a weird zero tolerance policy, in a sense, in which, like I said, they're disciplining both the people who are jerks and the people who stand up to the jerks, which really isn't how it should be. But, of course, I personally don't have a lot of say in how these massive corporations handle toxicity in their video games. All I can do is be this funky little person online who makes funny little, hopefully entertaining videos about how this stuff is just not acceptable. I'm sorry, but calling a person a deadbeat because they decided to call somebody else 18 slurs and tell them to do the no life 13 times, I just feel like, you know, one of those is reasonable and the other just really isn't at all. But all that being said, I haven't been playing online video games as much as I have been, hence the slow of content. I made a few single player videos and they didn't do that well and it was a little demotivating, but I'm working on it. But either way, I do stream on Twitch every single day at 6 p.m. EST if you just want company, you know? Now obviously I'm going to give my little spiel. This isn't to harass anyone in the videos, this is for informational purposes only, and if you run into these guys, just mute them or report them and have a good life.